അയ്യോ அங்க வேண்டாம் வெள்ளம் இருக்கு.
No, she's in river. She wants it.
அங்க வெள்ளம் இருக்குமே. Let us sit here. You write the night. Yesterday she came and keep it there. Keep it there. We can just tell her. Today, of course, there is no rain. Today there is no rain. Yes. Dampness is there now. Huh? Dampness there is the car that can. No, that is my better. You can tell us. Today net is working, so you can use net. Bhagyam. Bhagyam. Even our Bhagyam. You are even our Bhagyam. Bhagyama. Ishwara Sadhunala. Analia. Om Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om 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 Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Hari Om to everybody. Question. So day for yesterday, we were in Chidambaram. God is taking us on a tour. He wants us to witness what all Papa had gone through, the various tests he imposed on Papa, and how Papa passed every test. With the result, the subservience to him became stronger and stronger and stronger. By that, God is teaching us now. Ram is teaching us. Every incident, every so-called challenging incident has to be treated as a test. And when the imaginative faculty of making plans and seeking information was totally absent, that is the benchmark, that is the litmus test, where we rely totally. So it is too much for all of us even to understand literally that when he mentions about what is sannyas, climbing on the tree and leaving your two hands. We cannot even conceive of this. That much trust we have. Important thing is trust, not merely faith, trust. We were told in a place called Terrichari, about 100 kilometers from, more than 100 kilometers from Ashram towards Kaligar. There is a famous Rama temple. And during one of the Utsav period, when the various what do you call that English? People used to chant, people used to repeatedly mention the names of God with fullest fervor. And at that time, one devotee was prompted from within just to go to the flagstaff. Flagstaff is, what a flagstaff will be before a temple. Nothing will be there, no steps will be there. He went up to the top.
That is Gopura Kalasha.
No. Kudimaram.
Kudimaram.
And so it is difficult, to climb. Everybody, the all onlookers were they were taken aback. It is not possible, simply not possible for anybody to do that. So this person, when he reached the top, he was back to his cell. And he did not know what to do now. Nobody has got a clue what to do now. Again, everybody started chanting Lord Anjaneya's name. Anjaneya, 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 it's full. So this person who is on the top of he also chanted and became one with the chanting. And the thing was, he was just floating on the air, coming down. Coming down, not like, something is thrown. As if, he was floating. Slowly coming and touching the ground. He was unconscious. After some time, he regained consciousness. He asked him. He said, "We don't know. God made him to do that." And then when he reached the top, his sense of individuality again came back. When again he prayed, then he lost his body consciousness. Then the water was floating up to that, and he was just floating on the top surface of the water, and the water level was coming down gradually. And he landed safely there. That means when we read this, imaginative faculty for making plans and seeking information was totally up. How will I do this? It all stems from the sense of individuality. All these things we can hear only because our sense of individuality is so close to us. Difficult. Only in times of deep introspection, deep meditation, we may for a split second or for a few minutes, we may lose consciousness of the body. But otherwise, by and large, so it's difficult for us to act. But these are all things that had happened. So without a guide, he was helpless. He depended for all things on Ram. This is, keeps on emphasizing this. Whom he was remembering every moment of his existence. In every chapter, he will say meditation of Ram continued. That was there, and then he went to the station. He was not allowed to get into the train. Even then, because his submission to Ram was total, he thought that was not the place, that was not the direction to which he should go. God will. So he came back. Then, journey to Tirupapuri, we are in the 8th chapter. I will first read it out. A little distance from the station under a tree were piled up some stones. Ramdas, going up to the place, sat down on them and continued his meditation of Ram. Again, no? It was past midday when another train arrived. Ramdas, leaving the place, got upon the platform, nobody obstructing him at the gate this time, because the train was the right one for him to travel in. Here he came in touch with a sadhu, who immediately took him up. Ram gave him another guide. Both entered the carriage. The new sadhu Ram was very attentive. He asked him as to where he intended going. Ram was perplexed in this question. The simple truth was, he did not know. He replied, Ram knows. And since you are sent by Ram to guide him, you ought to know where he should go next. Sadhu Ram then said, I will take you to Tirupapalur and thence to Tiruvannamalai. As you please, replied Ramdas. You are Ram. Ramdas follows wherever you take him. Now the train was running. On the front seat facing Ramdas was seated two young Hindus, English educated. Both of them stared for some time at the strange, careless, quaint sannyasi. That is Ramdas. Then one of them remarked to the other in English. They thought that the sannyasi before them was ignorant of the English language. Mark closely the sadhu facing us. He belongs, take my word, to a class of sannyasis who are perfect humbugs. The fellow has adopted this mode of life simply as a means of eking out his livelihood. This man is a veritable impostor and a hoax. This observation was highly approved by the other party, who held a similar opinion about poor Ramdas. They spoke something more, which he could not clearly catch, owing to the rolling sound of the running train. O Ram, how kind of thee to put Ramdas in a situation in which he is made to hear himself spoken of in this manner. Instead of feeling annoyed, he sent up a prayer to Ram to bless the young men for their frankness. Further, Ramdas could not resist the expression of his gratitude to these friends and thus addressed them with hands folded in salute. O kind friends, it gives Ramdas great pleasure to confess that he is in full agreement with the view that you have expressed about him. It is perfectly true that he is a fraud. He has simply put on the robes of a sannyasi in order to find a living thereby. But one thing more you discover in him, that is, he is mad of Ram, and every moment he cries out to him to make him pure and only live for Ram's sake. Besides, it is his humble presumption that Ram is taking him on this pilgrimage to purify him. This speech surprised not so much on account of its import as the knowledge it brought them that the vagrant sannyasi could understand English, and therefore had grasped the purport of their remarks, which were never intended to be known to him. A sudden change came over them. Both fell at his feet and sought his pardon for their thoughtless remarks, as they termed them. Thereafter they became very solicitous and kind. They inquired if he required anything to eat. This was a reminder to him that he had not tasted anything the whole of that day, a circumstance which he had entirely forgotten. He then told the friends that he was mainly living on fruits and would gladly accept any alms from them. After some consultation with the Sadhu Ram, the guide they handed over to him some money for the purchase of fruit. For Ramdas, Ram's ways are indeed inscrutable. He is all love and all kindness. The first and foremost thing we come across is Papa never gave up this meditation of Ram. That he was leading him, he was guiding him, he was taking him That is why at every moment of this trip, he was always balanced, composed, unruffled, unperturbed, not at all being anxious. Very important. Second word, no? Ramdas going up to the place, sat down on them and continued his meditation. Continued. And got into the train as prompted by Ram. Previously, when he went, he was denied. He had no problem. Again, he was prompted, he got it. And there Ram provided a guide also. God is now, Ram is telling us, when your reliance on me becomes total, I take care of you. You still feel you are doing it, so I don't. Whereas in his case, when somebody asks, where are you to go? He doesn't know. It is for Ram to decide. This is also important. Again, Ram put him on a test. Every chapter, he is putting him on a test. Because in the second chapter, before taking him, Ram has made it clear that he wanted to swim in the wide ocean. Ram knew Ramdas wanted strength and courage, for gaining which Ram intended to make his ignorant and untrained slave to pass through a course of severe discipline, and this under his direct guidance and support. To test. What is the first test? His reply was left to Ram's will. You are Ram, you know better. First test passed. Second test. Comments of two young educated persons as deceiver, fraud. And mind you, at that time the stomach was empty. So normally we place ourselves when we are hungry and when somebody says something. Can we, in the normal course, can we answer in a cool way? We flare up. Correct. Exactly. The stomach was empty. Normally our reaction would be aggressive. In Papa's case, no. With folded arms, he confessed. Because, that means he is well aware of the deficiencies and insufficiencies and takes it as coming from Ram himself to correct. Deep within himself, he must be feeling some deficiency or insufficiency, which he feels now. God reveals, Ram reveals through these two boys. A level. That means self-effacement is total. That means Papa was viewing Ramdas as a separate individual. Identification with that individual was not there. If it was there, the flare-up would have taken place, definitely. So he was watching, why should he otherwise go? So there may be some vestige of something impurities. That's why he says Ram is intending him to take a pilgrimage for purity. For purification. What is the word? Ram is taking him on this pilgrimage to purify him. So that means he is well aware of the deficiencies or insufficiencies and take it as coming from Ram himself to correct. Now, when he passed the test, The transformation took place in the two young persons and even inquired and provided food. Now, an important thing, that's what we feel. How Papa was able to do this? Somewhere in the corner of his mind, he was totally convinced that it is Ram alone who is playing this game. Because later he said, behold divinity in every aspect of this world, Leela. Verily, it is he at play in all beings and creatures. That is why he could take it with a positive frame of mind. This morning in our satsang, we were reminded of when we think about this Leela, we were prompted to dwell on this Sri Krishna Leela by Vanamali, the last chapter. To us, it may be an intellectual exercise at the moment, but it will definitely help us. At least it will help us to reflect more and more. We have heard this word from many saints, Leela, Leela, Leela. And here Papa says, behold divinity in every aspect of this world, Leela. Verily, he is at play in all beings and creatures. So Vanamali concludes this book. Why does the Brahman, the immutable, the eternal, the ineffable, manifest himself? Why and how does the non-dual become dual? Advaita proclaims that duality is only an illusion. All is Maya. Brahman alone exists. That alone is Nitya. All else is Mithya. Once that is realized, the world of duality will cease to exist. The Puranas, however, give a sweeter explanation. Lord Narayana is the Supreme Person, equivalent to Brahman, and this creation is his Leela, his play, the cosmic game. He is pictured as lying on his serpent couch, with his consort, Lakshmi, sitting at his feet, with eyes half closed, immersed in bliss. From this abode of peace, he decides to incarnate himself in order to enjoy his own creation. He takes on so many incarnations, but his incarnation as Krishna is the exciting climax, a burst of joyful laughter, as it were, exploring the frailties and beauties of his own creation, admiring its grandeur, plumbing the heights and depth of its meaning, sometimes flouting his own laws, sometimes obeying it. For he is the Purushottama, the Supreme Being, who possesses both the immutable unity and the mobile multiplicity. Narayana is Satchit Ananda, existence, knowledge, and bliss. His incarnation as Krishna is the expression of his Ananda, bliss. Because of it all creation is possible. Because of his play, his delight, his sweetness, Krishna is the incarnate divinity of love. He is the essence of the love of the divine. He is the essence of the love of the divine for the divine. For the Jiva is also divine, and only the divine is capable of loving the divine with a love that is also divine. Krishna is the supreme, eternal, infinite, immortal, self-play, self-issuing, self-manifesting, self-finding. The blue boy of Vrindavan is the Lord descended into the world to play from the divine Ananda. The call of his flute seeks to transform the lower, ignorant drama of mortal life into the divine Ananda. Call of love may be forced to listen to the crack of the whip at Kurukshetra, but to the seer, that is only another aspect of his love. If he appears to break the established human molds, it is only an expression of his divine nature. And for this, he has to shock the sleeping mind of humanity in order to change, liberate, humanize. He is the perfect love, perfect beauty, giving rise to perfect delight, the complete revelation of Satchidananda in a mortal frame. If this is Krishna, then what about the Jivas? Why and how did they manifest? Are they not divine and therefore part of the game? Why then do they not realize that it is a game? Why do they have to suffer and sin, laugh and cry? Why does the sing beggar not realize that he is in truth the divinity clothed in tatters? The Puranas declare that the whole of life is indeed the Leela of the Lord, in which he himself is the hero and the villain, the actor and the audience, the director and the producer, the song and the silence, even the very stage on which the drama is enacted. It is by a large mobilization of his prakriti, his energy, his will and power that he manifests himself in all his multiplicity. But then the question arises as to why he allows himself to be caught in the web of his own creation. Can the spider be trapped in its own web? The explanation is simple. The best actors are those who can completely immerse their private lives in the personality of the character they are portraying. So, also in the cosmic drama, the supreme actor has to forget his true nature, allow himself to be caught in the web of his own Maya, if he is to completely and satisfyingly enact the different roles. He becomes the king on the throne, beggar on the street, murderer about to be hung, and the victim lying in a pool of blood, as well as the judge pronouncing judgment in the court. He is the solo actor, the solo enjoyer, the only experiencer, oblivious of his divine origin. Oblivious, no, he is not aware of it. Submerged in the role. He is playing, laughing, crying, dancing, singing, living, dying. The avatar comes to close, comes in order to free the jiva from this complicated web of divine origin and enable it to realize its own nature. Fortunate are those who happen to catch the lilting strains of his sweet music emanating from his magic flute. For them, the mundane world ceases to charm, and like the gopis of Vrindavan, they run in rapture to that enchanter in the forest, forgetting everything, spellbound by the form of that Lord of love and beauty, Sundara, Vanamohana, Manamohana Vanamali. Existence beyond personalities, but the devotee of God, Krishna, sees in him the indefinable personality. By adoring him, by union with him, the jiva can come to enjoy its own divine status. This is the promise made by him to Uddhava and Arjuna. Only then does the beggar realize that he was in truth the king who had taken on the role of the mendicant. Then the cosmic drama comes to a close, the curtain falls, the actor, director, audience remains in blissful, enraptured consciousness of himself as such Ananda. This is the cosmic play of God, inexplicable, tantalizing, adorable. Samarpanam at the lotus feet of Vanamali, the producer, director, the sole actor, the whole drama. Papa also uses this word very often, not once or twice. A few of his quotations we will go through. Then we will know We at the moment we believe in the words of Shastras and Atmas, and in our case, Papa. Papa says God is the only reality. He is seated within us, and everything happens by His will only, and it is for our ultimate good. This is the quintessence of Papa's philosophy. So, we take it, He is seated within. In all our prayer, we bring the attributes. So, sitting in our bosom as the nameless, formless, indwelling or pervading reality, in the form of life force, in the form of consciousness, in the form of intelligence, still He makes us to forget Himself, makes us to pray as an individual, makes us to feel the loss, feel the gain, feel the pain, feel the pleasure, makes us to go through anxious moments, makes us to feel in an exalted state. We just watching ourselves. Based upon the declaration given by our masters, when God is within us, He is without us. Not only me, as a spiritual aspirant, I have been asked to love all and serve all with the feeling. And that means all display, He is behind, He is behind, He is behind. We will try to at least intellectually get totally convinced about it. And then with that, we pray to Him. You have made me to understood that you are within me. You are making me to speak these words. You are making me to hear these words. You are making me to see. You are making me to smell, hear, taste, think. When that being the case, now I realize that what I am playing as a so and so is your play. Papa says, so beloved Ram, in spirit you are immortal. In form you are changing. As former you are free, undefiled, changeless, a blissful witness of the passing phenomena of name and form. This phenomena is your own play. You dwell in all, you appear as all. You are both with form, without form. You are the watcher of your own Leela. Pressure and pain belong to the passing appearance, but as the unchanging Atman, you are the very essence of immortal bliss. Another quotation. To look upon the whole thing as Leela, you must stand apart from it, identifying ourselves with the immutable, eternal witness who is unaffected by and unattached to all movement in the universe, all activity, all motion, all work belong to God's will or Shakti. The individualities, I, you, and He are all myths. For His wonderful Leela, the Absolute One has become Himself the Bhagavan and Bhakta, Guru and Chela, Lord and servant, mother and child. This assumption of duality in eternal union and oneness of the two is due to His will to enjoy Premananda. In truth, all is He. The one chooses to be many. The one manifests as many. His infinite prema and anand are in His manifestation. In the form of bhakta, He merges Himself in this boundless ocean of bliss and love. God Himself has assumed all names and forms in this world play, in which He pretends to be not conscious of Himself. A player on the stage pretends to be something different from what he is. Similarly, he is playing the universal game, putting on various masks, forcing that he is not what he is. We are all he. Let us not forget this truth. From duality, you reach non duality. Ramdas here tells you his own experience. We have to play, each one, a part allotted to us by him, who is the master of the play. He is within us and he is responsible for this Leela. If we are aware of him within us, we play our part well. If we forget him, we play our part ill. While in the former case, we reap happiness, in the latter, we reap misery. We have to play each one a part allotted to us by him, who is the master of the play. Papa, in these seven chapters we have found, especially after the saga started from the third or fourth. Every time he was conscious of this, he has put it in a different way. That's all. That is why he was not elated or dejected. At every turn of events, we call it a surrender or submission. But now we realize surrender or submission becomes possible only when we see the finger of God in everything. There is no other, so nobody to be blamed. Nothing is to be blamed, nobody to be blamed. Because God does. We have to play each one as a part allotted to us by Him, who is the master of the play. He is within us and He is responsible for this play. If we are aware of Him within us, we play our part well. If we forget Him, we play our part ill. While in the former case we reap happiness, in the latter we reap misery. All is Leela or play of God. Here Ramdas is reminded of the inspired words of William Shakespeare, who makes the actor in his play as you like it. Utter these words. All the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances. It is now to look upon the whole world as a leader of the Lord. We stand apart, seeing that the whole universe is filled with His presence, and that by His power all things are happening in the world. In a state of complete surrender to the will of God, our ego disappears. We feel identified with the all pervading, static, silent spirit, which we know is ourself. As such, we witness with detachment the manifestations which are before us and the power that is active in them. We are the spectators and we are the players. We are not only with the universal spirit, but as also with the universal manifestation. This is the highest attainment in which the sense of duality, sense of separation from the rest of the people in the world disappears completely. The ecstasy that we get that cannot be described. We are merged in that ecstasy day and night. We act, work, walk, do everything in that ecstasy. We do not remain idle. We pour ourselves out in words and actions and fill everybody who comes near us with love and joy. So, like that, Papa keeps on bringing about the various aspects of it. So, in quest of God, now slowly introducing this theme to us. So somewhere in the corner of the mind, we have to keep this. That He is the director, producer, or
Player also.
player, Because as a director and producer, he stands apart from the player. Then he is also the player. And he makes the player to forget about it. Because the direction comes from within. The cause, produce means cause, that comes from within. The act only comes without. Why he doesn't? Pujya Swamiji was once telling us, or I think we have read it in Papa's words. He was discussing, I think it's in the Vision of God or somewhere. He was chatting with a few friends. Suddenly he got up and left. Somebody asked, "Where are you going?" "Why are you going?" Ram made him to go. After some time he came back. "Oh, you have come back?" Ah, Ram made him to come back. Even on a minutest thing, Papa was able to maintain that feeling. The solo actor, solo director, solo producer. This is a thing on which we have to do a lot of things, a lot of going deep within. Behold divinity in every aspect of this world era. Verily it is He at play in all beings and creatures. At the moment we are unable to accept it. We accept it because it is said by Baba. But there should be a constant of, because he is telling not because somebody told him. No. He is telling because of the experience. So now our attempt is to get at least some glimpse of that experience. He gives some clues. Become spectator. Parvati Sakshi. If we have to recognize, become aware of his presence within, then he says we should become, we have to play each one a part. God himself has assumed all names and forms in this world play in which he pretends to be not conscious of himself. You know, a player on the stage pretends to be something different from what he is. Similarly, he is playing the universal game, putting on various masks, posing that he is not what he is. We are all he, let us not forget. To look upon the whole thing as a Leela, we must stand apart from it. Identifying ourselves with the immutable eternal witness who is unaffected by and unattached to what is going on. Even in our ordinary play, drama, the story is written by somebody. Lyrics, story and lyrics there. And the director is given charge. He goes through the whole thing. He decides the actors. He decides the venues. He decides the costume. He decides the dates. He decides the sequence upon which all these things are to be enacted. And then he closely watches the actor. They call it a call sheet, And there will be a big chart. It's a laborious job. Because each episode, when he tries to bring it out, we have to locate the place. And who are all the actors in that particular? What should be their costume? What are the things that are required? Suppose, he has to carry some vessel, carry some article, carry some weapons, All these things really has to be listed minute. At that time, we cannot go. And the dress. Okay, and then the actor. Then the particular actor for that. Then the consequence. How after this, after that, after this, after that. What any we have gone through when we were in the school, when we were given the role of a directing. At that time, our teacher told us all these things. So it's a tremendous job. So we can understand what a tremendous job the Lord is doing. At a time, He is having this cosmic play. Just imagine. Everything, that is why everything is preset, what do you call it, determined, pre-programmed, they say, because it is pre-programmed, otherwise it will not move from moment to moment. The same thing is done when a play is done here. Suppose somebody who goes for shooting, he has to make all this chart, well equipped. Even the makeup. The person who is having the scene is Raudra Bhav. He cannot have a passive voice, a passive face, So who decides, who guides the director? We are now just closing our eyes and we are watching. At this moment, how you are directing us. Go to this particular page, read this, share this thought, watch this thought, the play in the play, It is not separate. Even the very act of now, reading and sharing is also his own cosmic play. He has arranged everything. That is why I say he is the great provider. He is the great facilitator.
How many people yes to?
To him, there are not how many, To us, it seemed Ram has already chosen Ramdas as his own being. Papa was already highly realized soul. Otherwise, how could he have known the test being put to him? Here, the director Lord is unseen, but is still making us, all of us to act. That is the beauty of the director. Director will be behind the curtain. That is why she says that last word is very beautiful, He himself is the hero and the villain, the actor and the audience, the director and the producer, the song and the silence, and even the very stage on which the drama is enacted. Samarpanam at the lotus feet of Anamani, the producer, director, and sole actor of the whole drama. So we can add in our prayer now. We have heard this many a times. But as you make us to go through the inquest of God, the various episodes, and as you keep on making us convinced that how Papa was having an unruffled, unshaken, unperturbed attitude towards all that was happening. Later on, he said, behold divinity in every aspect of this world, Leela. So he knew the cause for everything is from him. He is put him on. We call it as test. Here we can call it as play. That's to make him know that he is the sole producer and director, and also the player. And he needs this play. Otherwise, why should he choose to become? That is why he, in the outpourings, he mentions it, O Ramdas, you are in Ram and out of him. You are everywhere along with him. He is everywhere along with you. He cannot leave you, you cannot leave him. He is tied to you, you are tied to him. You are in his custody, he is in your custody. He cannot do without you, you cannot do without him. He lives in you, you live in him. Still you are his slave and he is your protector. So that means we are not separate. Through that outpouring, he makes it very, 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 very clear. He has put it in a different way, that's all. So the sense of individuality is also his projection. Intellectually, we try to understand. Ramnam should enable us to realize this truth. So when we take to chanting of Ramnam or any other discipline, if this is very clear to us, probably it might give a greater push in our journey to the ultimate. At the moment, we are unable to accept it as his Leela. We take everything as genuine. We act, we proact, we act, we react. Doesn't matter. That is also part of his. But now through this, he is making us aware. That is why, the relevance of spiritual perceptors come. Otherwise, how will we know? If Papa had not told us this, we would not have applied our mind at all. With this background, when we go through a book called Sri Krishna Leela, we enjoy it more because, this is what our master said. So every time it gets authenticated. And then finally, still we are only enjoying it. Then he makes us to go through his own life and mission. This is what is happening in our case now. In spite of all these, we are not convinced about it. Our sense of individuality is still intact. We worship him, we chant Ram Nam, everything is there, but he is separate, I am separate. We have not accepted him as an indwelling reality. So now he is boring, drilling inside. We are refusing, we are resisting for the drilling. But he is now trying to inject into us. I am here. Don't search me out. When you chant Ram Nam, you bring this into your mind. Let not your mind go hither and thither. It is I who is making you to chant Ram Nam, so that you will know that I am the indwelling reality. I am making you to play as an individual. And when I make you to play as an individual, naturally I make you to forget this. But every now and then I give you a chance to come to the green room, freshen up, and then go back again. And then play. By that, slowly, whatever that happens on the stage will not affect me. Because I know that my real home is inside. So these are all the way in which he is now probably trying to lead us. This is how the inferences now come in our mind. By making us to go through in quest of God deeply, not at the surface level, not at the mental and intellectual level, but at the spiritual level, he makes us to go. Every word now. That is why everywhere we find the meditation of Ram continue. Because that is the anchor, that is the insulation. That makes, every other so-called, down pulling tendencies cannot enter. I become impervious to it. Because the sheet anchor is there. Meditation of Ram. He is behind. He is the sole doer. He has given me a role to play. I have to play the role. But at the same time, as an individual, when I play, there are many moments where he makes me to forget himself. But in the shortest possible time, he pulls me up and tells me, hey, look here, I'm there. Later on also we will find that. Even in Indivision of God, we will find that. Every now and then he makes him to forget. And then immediately pulls him. You will remember that why this lamentation, that chapter. Every time when he takes up, when he makes us to put, he makes us to forget about his presence within us. Then he makes us to have the joy and sorrow, everything. Then in the shortest possible time, he pulls us up and says, hey, I make you to have hope. So our sadhana, for all that, this meditation of Ram is necessary. So that this dual role goes on beautifully. If I completely identify myself with him, there is no role. If I completely identify with my role, I forget him. But if there is our prayer, our satsang, our contact with the spiritual preceptor, all these things help us initially to come to know that we are all playing the role allotted to us. When he gives us time like this, when he makes us to ponder deeply upon this, these are all the things which will give us the cushioning, or what you call the past moments, where he will give us the privilege of detaching ourselves from that particular scene and making us aware of his presence within. Immediately we will feel it light, though outwardly we may not show, because there is a role he has given. In Bhagavad Gita, he says in the Lord Krishna says, I have already slain these people. You are only a nimitta. That means, I have already done. But I want you to play this, Nimitta matram bhavasavya saji. In another sloka, he says, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Remember me and fight this battle. I have given you a battle of life. At all times and in all places. Remember me and fight. So now everything, he makes us to go through previously, he would have made us to enjoy the little the content. But now he makes us to slowly realize all these words I have already told you, it is not for repetition. It is not for sharing for others. It is for you to delve deeply into yourself and to realize that I am there. So these are all some of the thoughts, this particular chapter. Not only this chapter in the cumulative effect of our reflection. It gives us that. A little distance from the station under a tree was piled up stone. Ramdas, going up to the place, sat down on them and continued his meditation of Ram. The more we concentrate upon that, it becomes clear. That was the sheet anchor, He was not bothered about food. He was not bothered about anything that was happening outside. All because of this sheet anchor. Constantly hammering. Everything is at play. He is at play in different roles. So why should I? I should wait for the next card. I should wait for the next order from him. And that is one way of looking. Another way of looking at it is Ram is testing him. Whether at any time he has got this Mataji's language, Dehabuddhi. So he has not taken any food. He is not asking anybody anything. He doesn't know where to go. And when the Sadhu Ram comes and asks, where do you want to go? Like a child, innocent, he said, he doesn't, Ram knows. And since you are sent by Ram to guide him, you ought to know where he should go next. Well, I am taking you to Tiruvannamalai. As you please, you are Ram. Ramdas follows wherever you take him. The minutest, all this was possible because of the continued meditation. Because he is interacting with the world outside. You and I complain that when we interact with the world outside, we lose the contact. But here he is interacting with the world outside, but still not losing the contact.
Imagine it, faculty.
Imagining faculty is totally absent. Every word. And when the two boys, when they said, no, how we reacted, we just imagine. No. Two ways of looking at it. Honestly, as an actor, he says, yes, I am on my process of purification. He recognizes that there are some impurities, there are some insufficiencies and deficiencies in him. And that is why he is prompted to take up this, or God guided him to go. Another way of looking at it, that is also his play. So every time God ensures that he passes the test. Whether he is taking everything on himself or he is attributing to the substratum. All chapters are only having 1 or 2 pages, but look at the way in which it takes us. Tomorrow it will be more interesting. Pondicherry and Tiruvannamala. Today he has brought this dimension of world play, world leela. Let us all try to go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. Solo director, solo producer, solo actor, the villain and the hero, the song and the silence, all the opposites. So through bhakti, that's why we say jnani bhakti, jnani bhakta. Through bhakti, with the Advaitic principle, Advaitic theme is being introduced. Through bhakti. So that the dryness is not felt. We have collected, all his, what do you call it, revelation from this standpoint and brought it in the form of musings of there, each and every article he is dancing, from this from this stage. Tomorrow we will try to read a few from that. All these things are there. The teacher and the taught, he will say. He is also the teacher, he is also the taught. And how he behaves like a taught, and how he is looking at him as a teacher, and finally how the teacher and taught become one. With all these, when we connect up, it becomes more and more clearer and clearer for us. Papa's musings. Today we are already one. I and you are one. I and you are he. I wish to know God. I rose above all petty ratiocinations. I went beyond the range of so-called rational thinking. I stopped the gymnastics of the relative and erring talk and argument. God is self-existent, self-luminous. I gained awareness of him by stilling thought, by which God within me unveiled. I knew I am he. My heart was aflame with aspiration, resulting in the disappearance of all thoughts and in finding the ego to be false. The name of God enabled me to achieve this end. I trusted the name. I realized I am He. For a time, the world melted away from my vision. My body was forgotten in the constant thought of God within me. I realized the immutable, formless truth in which all is not, God only is. This is my experience. Then my eyes opened, body moved. I saw the world as myself. Then I came to know I am. God is my critic. God is my judge. God is my friend. This is all relative. I am none of these, for they are merely names and forms. I am myself. My philosophy is name and God. Name is myself. I see all the manifest world as myself. I transcend them all. I am He. My approach is to myself. I only am. All that exists is myself. Oh, reader of these words, I am on all planes of life, yourself. You are myself, for you and I are one. I close my eyes, it is all ecstasy. I open them, it is all joy. All forms of my world being are so many ripples in my infinite joy. I am joy, for I am He. None can fathom me. For He who tries to do is myself. Why do I write these lines? To reveal God's glory, which is my own, your own, for I and you are He. I searched for Him. I found Him in me and in you. Verily, I, you, and He are one. In the world drama, I play all parts as giver and receiver, as doer and non doer, as king and beggar, as master and servant. Behind all wheels, all guards, all masks, I am the soul's fate and power, ever free, ever blissful. So I am He. So all these, slowly it will penetrate into our realm of thoughts. That here is a testimony is Papa's life himself. It is not the Shastra we are reading. We are learning the Shastra through the example of Papa's life. From the individual level to the universal level. Then only he was able to declare that everything is the play of God. Let us all try to assimilate as much as we can. Pray to Him from the bottom. You have made known to us that you are within. You are making me unaware of this. Why don't you give me the joy of becoming aware of your presence? At least for some time. Then you again allow me to play. I don't mind. But every now and then you make me aware. You call me to the green room and then push me out. I don't mind to work out my karma. But having come under your umbrella, you should not leave me totally unaware of your presence. Let this prayer well. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Tomorrow we will share some of the thoughts which I have expressed in the chat. Here the director, God, is unseen, but still making all of us to act. How does dharma come into the picture, son? The problem occurs only when we take the role of a director instead of the actor. Papa gave important prayer. Ram,
Ram, Ram,
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram.